Welcome to the Sports for All podcast. I'm your host, Aidan Byrne, and we have another great guest today. So, do you want to introduce yourself to everybody?
Yeah, of course. Hello, everybody. My name is Camila. I am a professional football player and I actually work in sports marketing. I'm 24. I'm based in both London and Colombia right now, as per my football season.
Amazing intro. Thank you so much. So, my first question is, do you want to tell us a bit about how you got involved in sports and why you got involved?
Yeah, of course. I'll give you a little bit of a background story. So I actually was born and raised in Colombia, like I mentioned before, in South America. And here in South America, football is probably the biggest deal, and everyone lives and breathes the sport here. So I grew up in that environment. I grew up with a dad who was obsessed with the sport, a brother who was also a professional football player, and my mom and my sister as well. My sister plays rugby. So it's always been a massive part of my life growing up and everything. In my family, everyone's in some one way or another involved with sports. It's such a big deal in my family. So I grew up with that, and I grew up with that sort of like energy. Everyone's always wanting to be involved. So that's how I got into football. When I was younger, my family were like, you're doing a lot of different sports, but you need to make a choice. You need to decide what you want to do, because you get to a point where you're like, okay, it's time to make a decision. Like, what sport do you want to stick with? And that was football for me. So I kind of just stuck with it, and I've been playing since I was about, I don't know, maybe like 6 years old, a long time. Um, so that's how I got involved, heavily influenced by my family.
Amazing. Yeah, I feel like we just go into it and we're like, oh my goodness, so many different sports to choose from. And then you definitely
Yeah.
pick one. So, how did you get into the more professional side of it? When did that start to come in?
Yeah. So, like I said, I grew up in Colombia, and then that's when I started. But then I actually moved with my family to America when I was about 11. So in America, part of the culture, sports is everywhere. But I stuck to like soccer, I guess you can say, but it's football. And then I went to university in America. I played in the first division there at the university level, and I got a scholarship for it. So that was amazing. That was a massive accomplishment for me. And then I studied sports management. So again, always involved with sport. And then I did 4 years. I graduated with my degree, and then I finished playing in the first division in America at uni. And then the last 2 years, I was living in London, where I also got a scholarship to study and also play football, which has always been like a big priority for me. I always wanted both things to go together hand in hand. Like I always wanted to study and also continue playing and having a sports, side of like my life as well. So then I did 2 years in London. I graduated with my master's degree. I also played for several different clubs whilst I was in London. Also played for my uni. And then about 6 months ago. I received my first offer, and then it kind of just it didn't go anywhere because at the time I was still studying, I was still at uni, I was still doing like having my life in London, and I hadn't graduated yet with my master's. But then I graduated this January 2025, and then kind of simultaneously, like at the same time, I got this incredible offer to come back to Colombia, which is pretty crazy because it's something that came out of nowhere. I wasn't expecting it. I did not think it was gonna happen, but I got a coach from like many, many years ago when I was growing up here got in contact with me. It was like, hey, I've been following your journey, I've been following your career. I think it's awesome what you've done in America, in London, in the UK. Would this be of interest to you? And he was like, I have an offer for you. I would love for you to come play professionally here in South America and Colombia. Let me know if you're interested. And never got really serious. So after that first conversation, he kind of followed up with me. And then, yeah, in January, I was like, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna go for it. This is probably like once in a lifetime opportunity. So I took it, and it's been incredible. I'm really happy with my decision, and I couldn't be happier.
Oh my gosh, that is so cool and such good timing as well.
Yeah, I know. It was perfect timing. It was like a full circle moment. Like I had just graduated like in January, maybe like the week before. And then like the next week I was like getting this offer, and I was like, I need to do it. I'm in a period of my life where it was a big like transition in terms of like I was deciding where I wanted to go, what I wanted to do with my career, and just what I wanted to do at that moment. So then the fact that this came along was like incredible, and I'm here now.
Uh, no, that is so amazing, and especially being able to do something that you really love and that you've always loved as well.
I feel very, very lucky. It's amazing.
Yes, I love that. Thank you. So my next question is, who have been some of your like big inspirations throughout like your sports career?
Yeah, of course. I mean,
Big-
yeah, that's such a good question. For me, like growing up in the sports world, like I never really had like role model in terms of like a woman in the area because of the lack of I don't know, so many different things in the sports world, which is changing, which is amazing to see. So growing up, I think I always looked up to like different male players like and roles in the sports world, because that's what I was exposed to. But as I grew older and actually I did for my thesis during my master's, I did a section on like the importance of role models and what they mean to us as like, sports players or sports people coming up. And I'd say anyone that speaks up about the importance of having for me as a girl, like having a women like role model in the sport is someone I look up to. That could be, I mean, there's many players like, for example, like Americans that I can refer to because that's kind of what I started to get exposed to when I was growing up in America. So people like Alex Morgan or Megan Rapinoe, many different players like that. There's many players that have like, spoken up about the importance of just having those role models for younger generations and for people coming up. But yeah, anyone that speaks up about, the importance of women's sports and all these different things, that's something I'm super passionate about. So all of them, I admire them, all of them, pretty much.
Absolutely. I think it's just so good to be able to see younger girls have people they can look up to.
Yeah, of course. It's so important. I think it made a big difference in my life, and especially like growing up, because I grew up not having that, but then now seeing younger girls and younger generations having that, it's amazing. And even just being able to be one for them as well. Like for me, it's super important. Like when I see or when I speak to younger player, whether it's an athlete or someone that just likes sports or enjoys anything that has to do with sports, I always love to say like it's a time right now where we're super exposed to so many different things and like the media and all these things. Um, but if you can like intake all the most positive things and look up to people that, are promoting like good messages and stuff like that, like follow them and do that because we have access to it now. We didn't have that before.
Yeah, exactly. No, you'd be such a good role model for everybody. And I think it's really important that people can see themselves in other people. And yeah, it kind of like instills that kind of good qualities as well, positivity.
Yeah, 100%.
Hmm. So my next question is kind of talking a bit about the organizations that you've been involved in. So obviously I know you from League Leaders, but you've been involved in quite a few different ones. Do you want to like tell everybody a bit about them and what that's been like getting involved in so many like sporting charities and organizations?
Yeah, of course. So like one of my biggest priorities when I moved to the UK and to London was to take advantage of like these opportunities because especially like in London I was exposed to like organizations like League Leaders and like Boarded and a couple other ones as well. And being in that environment is super, I mean, has been life changing. So I think, being like involved with so many young people, getting to see like what like their experience has been like also like comparing their experience to mine and sharing those experiences with them and seeing that like even though we've all come from so many different backgrounds and so many different things because of sport we all like share so many incredible like experiences that are very similar, which is kind of crazy to think about because we all come from, again, like so many different cultures, different places, different countries, and like to come together through like a sport or just sports in general has been so great to see and just to experience. So yeah, being involved with these organizations like League Leaders, like Sported has exposed me to that, has allowed me to learn about the importance of youth organizations and how big of an impact they have on like our lives and just anyone coming up through like sports in general. So yeah, that's probably the biggest highlight, just getting to know the youth people, like everyone that I've met, like you, Eden, so many incredible stories and just like getting to know everyone that's involved in these organizations has been amazing. And I hope to continue to do that for a very long time. I think it's been, incredible for me. It's definitely one of my highlights of, having moved abroad and having done all these different things alone, but when you meet these people and you hear what they've been through and all the things that they've done, you're like, wow, this is incredible. Like it's something that I want to continue doing and being exposed to.
I love that. Yeah, I think it's like such a cool like way to like meet new people and like really learn from their experiences as well. Like I know I've learned quite a lot from working with different people in the charities. It's been really great. And like we sometimes think, oh, we just all like sport. It's different sports, like it's so different, but it's not. Like we all just have that passion and we all like have that same love, and it's really nice to like have a wee community. I really love that.
People with so many, I mean, different qualities, but also very similar. Like I've noticed
Yeah.
that like we are very motivated. I feel like we're all involved in so many different things. Like we want to always be doing something, whether that has to do with sport or not. Like we're always trying to do something, trying to get involved, trying to help. Very giving. So it's like it's great qualities that I think and I've assumed over the years that all come from being involved in sports.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. That was actually going to be a bit about my next question. What skills have you learnt, like from being a young athlete, and how have they helped you in your life? So that kind of nicely leads on to that.
So yeah, like I was saying, I think one of the biggest ones for me has definitely been resilience. In every aspect of my life. I think everything that I've been through my sport has directly translated into how I act with situations like in my career, my professional life, even studying. I feel like that's a quality that we gain from just being exposed to the sort of situations that we get exposed to through. So definitely resilience, motivation. I think it's a big one as well. Also how we treat others, like respect, having people to look up to has always helped me as well because I feel like from a very young age we try to have someone or anyone to look up to and we try to be like them and we see the good and we take the good qualities from them. So that's also something a big one. Other skills, probably just like being communication, like being able to communicate with other people. I play a team sport, so that's also something that's been a big deal for me. It's helped me, become a bit more confident, outgoing. It has helped me like just socializing, get to know other people as well and understand that even though, like I said before, we all come from so many different backgrounds, we all have things in common that we come together for. And so yeah, all of these qualities and all these skills are definitely things that I've gained throughout the years from sports, which make me feel very, very lucky and very privileged.
Yeah,
So
no,
yeah.
you definitely learn so much. And then obviously when you're younger, you don't realize any of this. And then when you get older, you're like, oh my goodness, I've learned so much from being involved in a team and performing. And it's just crazy whenever you come to think of it and you're like, oh my goodness, yeah, that's really shaped who I am.
Yeah, I feel like I could definitely say I probably wouldn't be who I am today if it wasn't for the sports or the sport that I've been involved in my
Me
whole
too.
life. Like I wouldn't. So yeah, 100%.
Amazing. So my next question is what have been some barriers that you faced getting involved in sport or maybe like other young people that you know, what are some of the big challenges that they face in like getting involved and even staying involved, I think is a big one as well.
Yeah, of course. I think, well, I could say two things. The first one would be consistency, and I'll go into a little bit more detail with that. And then the second one would be injuries. I think that's a big
Yeah.
one, that takes a toll. So consistency, what I mean by that is because of sometimes like lack of maybe resources of support or just not having access to certain things like that, affects like our consistency and how well we perform within the sport. So I've met and I've spoken to and I've seen a lot of, young people that maybe just kind of stop going or doing the sport because they don't have access to, transportation or just things that, you normally would think like everyone should have access to, especially if they're trying to like do well in the sport or trying to do something for themselves, which is so positive. So I think, that side of like just trying to be consistent, also having support from maybe family or friends, like I feel like that affects how well, young people do within whatever sport they decide to do. So that would be my first thing. And then, which is a big challenge. And then also just injuries in general. I think it's really sad because obviously you can't really control that side of the game. Like you can't really control or the sport. Like you can't control what happens. You can't control, what could happen in any situation in terms of like, illnesses or injuries or things like that. You can only control how you react and how you come back from it and how you know, deal with it. So that's definitely probably the biggest challenge when it comes to this. I think it could take a toll on you mentally, and it has happened to me in the past. I was out of, you know, one of my seasons for almost a whole year due to an injury, and it took a toll on me mentally. Like I felt like at the time I didn't know what my identity was because I didn't have a sport, and you almost feel lost. You're like, I don't know what to do with my life right now. Like, I don't know what could happen. I don't know, you know, it's like it's a lot. It could be very overwhelming. But I would say to young, you know, to anyone that's listening, things get better, and, you know, everything happens for a reason at the end of the day. Like, even now looking back, it only made me stronger. Like, at the time, I didn't know what was happening. I wasn't sure how I was going to come back from it. But today, like, it built character, and it helped me realize that, you know, sometimes that those sort of situations are needed because they help us build resilience, and we come back from them, you know, stronger. Sorry. So then, yeah, that's probably what I would say. Things get better, and, you know, keep being resilient, positive, like talk to people. Like, if you need to speak to someone about it, please do, because that always helps. And yeah.
Yeah, no, that is such a good piece of advice. I think it is so important. Like you do feel like you lose a piece of yourself. But I think, like you said, resilience is really, really important, and like things will get better, and just as you said, it's like speak to other people, try and stay connected in whatever way you can. Like I know whenever I was injured, like I used to go along to the club and like help out, like help coach to keep connected to the team. So my last question is, what advice would you give to a young person or anybody really wanting to get involved in sports but who might not have the confidence?
Wow, that's such a good question. What advice would I give to someone wanting to get involved? I mean, the first thing is to, again, if you can surround yourself with people and maybe speak to, you know, people that you're around, especially if they've done sports, I would say speak to them and ask them like, hey, how did you get involved? Like, what did you do to, you know, stay motivated and, you know, want to keep going? And in terms of confidence, I mean, that comes with time. I think that's a process that, you know, comes with time. I think we all start somewhere. So the first thing that I would say is just go for it. Try and just, you know, just do it. Like, if you try a sport and maybe, I don't know, it doesn't go as well as you wanted it the first time, don't be too hard on yourself, because things, you know, it gets better. Like, your confidence comes with time, it comes with consistency, it comes with trying. You know, we have to try and make mistakes and try and just do things in order for them to eventually work out, you know? So just kind of like releasing that pressure from ourselves. I think sometimes, even from a young age, like we put a lot of pressure on ourselves because we want to do well, we want to perform, we want to make our families proud, or we want to make our friends proud, or just whatever reason there is. So my advice would be to just try it, just go for it, make mistakes, have fun. I mean, you know, we're so young, like try and have fun with the things that you do, love what you do. You know, if you're not fully, you know, enjoying it or not completely passionate about it, or you don't feel like you love it enough, then try something else, you know, try
Yeah.
and do something else, because we're here to do the things that we love. We're here to do the things that, you know, we're passionate about. And that's probably the biggest, you know, the most important thing for me. And that's always been advice that I've gotten from the people that I'm close with, like my parents or my siblings as well. So yeah, confidence will come with time. Just try things, make mistakes, because that's what makes you better. That's what helps you learn. And yeah.
That is such a lovely piece of advice. Thank you so much. It's really great. That's all from me. Thank you so much for coming on. It's been so good to have you. I'm definitely feeling really inspired, and I think everybody else will be too. It's been brilliant. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Edie, for having me. I hope, you know, anyone that's listening enjoys this. This was awesome.
Thank you so much for listening to the podcast. It would be great if you could give it a follow and if you could give it a rating. If you want to connect with me further, you can find me on LinkedIn at Eden Byrne or on X at Eden71003.